I don't want to think about this song for this weekend because I do not want any rain to get in the way of Arkansas baseball. None. Unless we don't play Sunday and we have a doubleheader on Saturday, I can deal with that. I could definitely deal with a doubleheader right now. Bill King joining us, our friend from Nashville Sports Radio, hosting 6 to 9 every morning, Monday through Friday. The king of college football talk, but also somebody that loves college baseball. And Bill, your Vanderbilt Commodores, they were unable to play over the weekend because of weather. But, man, when they got on the field on Monday, I don't know why Wright State even decided to bring bats with them. So all this pitching that we've got with Arkansas and the other teams across the SEC, Vanderbilt's got it in droves. And you don't have an ace. There isn't just an ace with this team. You got two aces, and they both just shoved on Monday, didn't they?
First pick and projected the fifth pick. Lighter stuff, you could argue, is better than Rocker. And I'm not going any further than that. I'm just saying he was wicked. Let me turn this around on you, though. I've been thinking about this. I've been wanting to ask you this. And I don't know if you've seen me tweet this. My biggest complaint about college baseball, which I love, is when watching these SEC broadcasts, which are manufactured on the campus, right, where the local broadcaster is. Why are they so inconsistent with the radar gun and placing the velo on the screen? Why is that hit or miss? And you never know whether you're going to get it or not. They even at times will do it for a couple of innings, and then you don't see it again. What is that? Well,
and I wonder if that's different ballpark to ballpark. You know, it used to be
right.
Like when Dave Jordan, when he was the pitching coach at Arkansas, he didn't want the radar gun reading on the video board because he said, well, that makes the pitcher want to go, as he would call it, win the teddy bear. And he would actually try to dial that reading down a little bit rather than pump it up.
Wow.
But yeah. What were did you get any velocity readings from Leiter and from Kumar?
Early in the game, and you got to remember, it was 38 degrees. Leiter was 98, 99, 97. Now, they came back a couple innings later and said, we've been told by somebody that the gun's running a little hot right now. So they said take about 2 off that. But Leiter was upper 90s there for a while. And, again, in bitter weather. So, and, guys, I don't think he's 6 foot. You know, Rocker, you see Rocker, that's 6'5", 250, right? I mean, you look at him, and I don't think Leiter's going to measure out at 6 feet, but he's got a lot of stuff. Wow.
Well, the SEC took care of business this past weekend at the tournament that I was at in Texas. Just amazing to see. And, you know, I don't know how good Texas is going to be. I don't know about their hitting. I thought their pitching would have been better. Texas Tech is going to be okay. I think TCU is going to be good too. But, man, it didn't even look like the Big 12 and the SEC were playing the same sport at times.
Ole Miss. Yeah, we can go on and on. It could be one of the better. Tennessee's pretty good. They played Arkansas Pine Bluff yesterday. I saw a little bit of it, but they're not, bad as they used to be.
No, I think they're going to be a lot better too. Tennessee would have been really good last year under Tony Vitello. We've been talking up Arkansas, Alabama for a good chunk of the day for basketball tonight. Bama's got a chance to win the SEC championship. Another game that I think is pretty darn important for one of those teams is the Tennessee at Vanderbilt game. Vandy's been playing teams pretty tight. Not that really means all that much sometimes, because teams that consistently lose close games are just bad teams. I think Vandy's a bad team. Tennessee, though, has been kind of a little bit shaky here. I think this is a huge game for Tennessee tonight. Big.
Tennessee can either look like they did in the Kentucky game, meaning 2 games ago, when the 2 freshmen that they've got, Keon Johnson and the Springer kid, had 50 between the 2 of them, or they can look mediocre. And you never know what you're getting in them. The biggest problem they have is they do not have a lead guard. They don't. And as you know, until you don't have a quarterback or a lead guard, you don't know what you're missing until it's missing, right? And that's a problem for them. I'll tell you the team you don't want to play, and they've lost 13 games. I don't think anybody right now in the league's playing better than Kentucky at the moment. And Isaiah Jackson, their freshman, who's a 6'10" kid, is playing into a lottery pick. He used to not score much a few weeks back, and he always averages, double digits rebounding. Now he's scoring 17, 18 points a game. They're starting to come into play. Now, again, I think they're way out of it, obviously. What are they, 7-7? And the Aggie game got canceled on them. But that team's caught a little fire.
Yeah, I don't think Texas A&M is going to play another game the rest of the year. Kentucky
Doesn't
still
seem
probably
like.
has to. They have got to win the SEC tournament to make it to the national tournament.
Yeah.
But I sort of wonder, like, when you look at this league right now, there's only one team that appears to be like a surefire second weekend NCAA team. I think Arkansas is going to get there, but outside of Alabama, like, who else really is a contender out of the SEC to get to the Final Four?
Probably in one. You would think Tennessee, but they're not holding up there into the bargain. You would have thought them, but no, they're not performing to where we could say that about them. Yeah, it's not a real good year in the league. And if Kentucky's right, the standings would not look the way they're looking right now. But it is what it is. They've lost 13.
Bill King joining us here on Halftime. Bill, want to jump back on Kentucky just for a second before we move on to a football question I got for you about the Razorbacks. What's changed in your mind with Kentucky? Well, I mean, how they looked horrible during the early part of the SEC season. They had a gauntlet of a non-conference schedule, but no, like you said, gaining some confidence and really starting to play well. One of the better teams in the SEC right now. What's changed with Calipari and company?
Well, every freshman class they get has already been told before they get there, you're God, right? You're a basketball god. So he's got to deal with that with every group. Doesn't matter which group it is, and some of them handle it and some of them don't. The other item is there's either they'll bring in a true freshman point guard who's just electric, and it really doesn't matter that he's 18. He's a high first-round pick. And then they'll have the 6'6", 6'10" guys around them. They don't have a point guard. Now, the Mintz kid, who's a veteran, who's a transfer in there, is really solidified them. And I'd say along with Jackson, the way he's playing, Keon Brooks, remember, was hurt for a while. He's really starting to come on. Terrence Clark, a five-star, they're saying may not play again this year because of his injury. But I'd say it's the Mintz kid who's, he looks like he's one of the few guys out there that looks like a man on that team. And he's probably 21, 22, and he's a guy that can kind of glue them together, so to speak.
It's going to be interesting to see how this whole SEC season turns out with Kentucky. And I think with Arkansas, Bill, I know we don't talk a lot of Arkansas basketball with you. We keep it mainly football and baseball, but this Arkansas team is getting hot at the arguably the best time of the year right now, and obviously a big one tonight against Alabama. And if Arkansas beats Alabama tonight, Bill, this sets them up perfectly towards the end of this SEC regular season and heading into the SEC tournament and beyond.
Absolutely. No, this is the time. Peaking is an art form. It's not just a happenstance. There's a formula to that. Nobody really knows the formula, but this is the time you need to start playing your best ball. No question, and that's what they're doing. Guys, I go back, I think I've told you, I go back to, as a kid, watching Sidney Moncrief, Ron Brewer, and Marvin Delk play in the 78 Final Four. So I love me some Arkansas basketball history.
That's awesome.
I love how you put that, Bill. Peaking is an art form.
It is.
And you don't know, like, that's what makes coaches great when they're able to, like, when consistently, I've seen this with some coaches. Dave Van Horn, the Arkansas baseball coach, his teams are always playing extremely well, getting into May, and they keep that level going. That is an art form. And I don't know how you get that, how you put that recipe together.
Yeah, it's not on a shelf, and the math teacher can't draw it up on the chalkboard. It shows you this is exactly the formula. Do this. It's unclear, but some have that knack.
Last thing I want to get to before I throw it back over to Phil, we'd love to get into some college football here with you. Now that the coaching carousel has really started to slow down, Gus Malzahn's off the board, heading to UCF. I'm just curious from your perspective, and just more of an opinion than anything. Barry Odom signing along the extension with Arkansas. We know Kendall Browse will be back here for another year. How long do you think, particularly with those two guys, how long do you think they'll stick around at Arkansas before they move on to Kendall's first head coaching position and Barry Odom returning to a head coaching spot?
My mental mindset just generally is take it 2 years at a time. You know, if you're a fan right now, you're an Arkansas fan, you're loving, you got your D coordinator signed up and you got him solidified, you know, give yourself mentally 2 years because obviously you always want to be the guy in that main office. And you just explained the two that you're referring to. So that's the way I would look at it. At Alabama, a lot of times, I mean, you may get lucky and keep Sark around, but a lot of times at Alabama, it could be 1 year.
Bill, I want to close this out with a question that I just saw somebody ask on Twitter, and I love this kind of stuff. And when I worked in minor league baseball, I think I'd have difficulty picking like one of these places. What sports venue is the biggest dump that you've ever visited in person?
Well, I'd say the football field at Vanderbilt, Dudley Field. Mm-hmm. You've got, I one admittedly, I haven't been to many dumps. Now I'll tell you a place that I hate. I wouldn't necessarily call it a dump, even though I'd like to. And somebody asked me our favorite places. With the Fiesta Bowl is just incredible. And I've been to a lot of those Fiesta Bowls in the past. I've been to national championship games, and then they moved the thing to Glendale. Glendale's off. I mean, the facility's okay. But last time I was Auburn, Oregon, 2010 season for the national championship, I swear I'd never go again. I have. It's been 10 years. So I hate that venue. Hate it.
Well,
by the way, guys, you've seen the guy that got whipped is from Nashville. Went to Franklin Road Academy.
The MMA?
Yeah. Well, no, not the fighter. The guy that got whooped.
Oh, the actual Oklahoma lineman. Oh, gosh.
Yeah. That was from Nashville.
That was a crazy video that got shared around this week, Bill. I mean, what the heck are those two Oklahoma kids doing? We joked about this today.
You're 6'5" with 320, so you're used to being bigger than everybody. And those guys look 6'2", 2+. But those two guys that they were, punking a little bit are 5'10" and 5'8". They're brothers, but they're 12-year MMA guys. They're being drunk, getting in a fight on a floor full of urine. That's Saturday night, huh?
Yeah, boy, that is a fantastic weekend for everybody, doesn't it? Yeah. Bill, appreciate you, man. Thanks so much. Have a great rest of the week.
Bye.
One place that I went to for a game once that I'm happy is not around anymore, so I never have to go there again. I thought it was a dump.
What's that?
JT in Hot Springs, you listening? Texas Stadium.
Really?
Ugh. What a hole. What a hole.
Fair enough.
The new place is gorgeous.
Okay. I thought you were about the new places. What are you talking about? Okay.
No, Texas Stadium was a dump.
Okay.